Hello, welcome to Hope for Flint. I'm your host, Kristen Wolosinovich, and to my far right, my beautiful co-host, Lisa Metropolis.
Hi, Kristen.
Today's our lucky day.
I know, it is.
In the studio, in the Hope for Flint studio, to my right, partner of the Sweet Leaf, located in Flint, Michigan, Delano Burton.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, friend of the show. Thank you for being here. To your right is attorney Bruce Leach.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on again, Lisa. Appreciate it very much.
Hello, Bruce Leach. Also located Flint, Michigan is where your home office is,
My
correct?
home base has been in Flint, Michigan, defending cannabis patients and caregivers under all the changing laws that we've had going on.
Right.
Well, that's very exciting, and why you're both here today, because, you know, medicinal marijuana has been a huge topic for centuries, to be honest. It goes back in time. And the laws have recently passed, correct? When did this legislation just pass?
Well, last December, it was voted on and passed that we have now the MRTMA, Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana like Alcohol, which makes adult use marijuana possession and use legal in the state of Michigan, as well as cultivation. But what it does is it really has corrected a lot of the problems with the preceding laws. Certain medical provisions were not all encompassing and didn't really protect people the way that they should have. So this new law is really truly bringing the protection to the people in the way that it should be. It's also changed a lot of things in the business arena and allowing for the realistic operation of the cannabis market. I mean, you have to have an opportunity for people to buy and sell cannabis on an open market with good product. And now we have that with the testing and the verification and licensed provisioning stores. It's all steps in the right direction for where this needs to go.
Well, that also leads into you, Delano, and the Sweet Leaf. How has this changed your life, and what are some of the products that you provide to customers? Because it's just not marijuana, correct?
Right.
I mean, there's lotions, there's healing products. It's a plethora of products.
We pretty much provide anything that people need health-wise.
Okay.
As far as any medical reasoning that you might need, anything natural for, we provide a natural medicine. You know, I don't like to even call it marijuana. It's more of a medicine than anything. Like I said, it's the most healing medicine you can get, and we can help you. We can pretty much help anybody, anything, if they have their licensed medical card at the moment.
So you have to have a medical marijuana card, correct? Go ahead, Bruce.
That's actually an important distinction that people should realize. If you've had a medical card in the past, you should keep it.
Yes.
It's an added level of legal protection for you that hopefully you will get messed with potentially less and less as time goes on. But the adult laws are new, and it's new to officers. It's new to people in law enforcement, so they're not going to understand it the same way they didn't understand the previous cannabis laws, and that leads to the lack of understanding and clarity leads to problems that end up seeing people getting ticketed or sent to court, and that's the whole point of this new law, is to avoid that. We don't want anybody to have to get arrested or harassed or ticketed or have to go to court anymore at all. But it's important that you still are aware of the laws and what you can and can't do. But maintaining your medical card, if you've had one in the past, I strongly urge people to maintain that as a level of protection. And I just wanted to say about products from Delano the Sweet Leaf. I had the CBD cream recently that was unbelievable for pain relief. I'm telling you, I put it on in 5 minutes. After 10 minutes, the pain was totally gone. And I'm a big professor of the products in this industry. And
I use it also.
I believe in the medicine. But there are so many new products that come out nowadays because the doors have opened to acceptance. The doors have opened to treatment in a medical sense, where it's not just smoking joints, which obviously is probably the least healthy way to do it.
Well, Lisa, we've been talking about this topic for quite some time, and there is such a massive misunderstanding because they think everything has the THC within it. And now they can't shy away from this because there's so much medical data backing up the treatment, whether it's epilepsy, MS, pain management, across the board. I'm sure you can speak to that, Delano, or, Lisa, you wanted to talk a little bit about your history with CBD and using it for pain management.
Well, my question is, so, and Bruce, you were saying that there's so many more options, and Delano, so many more options now, and it's, of course, so much, it has a credibility to it now, especially since the law is passed.
Absolutely.
So I have seen going into salons, hair salons, massage, I've seen CBD pop up everywhere now in everything. I mean, it is sold in Rite Aid. It's sold in every, you go
Health
into bakeries.
store.
It's sold in stores there.
Glad you brought that up.
Here's my question to you. What's the content of that? How do you feel about that? And because Bruce and Delano, this is a business now. Yes. How do you feel about that? What are the laws that help you, and some of them that aren't exactly helping you also?
Well, that's a really important point, and I'm really glad you brought that up, because there are a lot of gas stations. There are a lot of Whole Foods markets. There are a lot of these health food related stores that are displaying these CBD products
everywhere.
And first of all, I'd like to start out by saying it should all be legal. Okay, it all should be legal, no matter what.
From Bruce's mouth to your ears, right?
No matter the business context, no matter any of this, it should all be legal and treated as a homegrown medicine,
right,
just like anybody else's herbs and anything else.
That's it.
But that being said, there are people that are spending a lot of money and a lot of effort to get these state licenses to be compliant with the law. And then you have the mobile gas station down the road that has a CBD stand, and it has a sticker on there that says legal in all 50 states.
Right.
And as much as that should be the case, it's not.
It's not. That's
It's not.
right.
It's
That's
not legal in all
important
50
to know.
states.
It's a complete slap in the face almost for us to have to jump over hoops.
Jump through hoops
jump
and
over
what you have to
hurdles,
do.
And what you've
somebody
gone
else
through.
can just
Okay,
stick it on the
that
shop.
makes sense, doesn't it?
I prefer to look at this more in a proactive way and looking forward rather than looking back.
Sure.
But it's hard to ignore the victims of cannabis prohibition and the pain and the suffering that they've had to endure
For
wrongfully
years. For centuries.
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, in the United States, it's been over 50 years of incarcerating people wrongfully, stealing their property, taking away their freedoms and families, and that is just the most atrocious behavior on behalf of our government that I deal with on a daily basis as my law practice. But you can't overlook that. And then look now to the people who are taking advantage of this situation. And to me, that's not very much better. I mean, the fact that these gas stations or other stores are willing to openly sell these products, that same action costs people prison time.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
And not that I wish prison time on them, but it's not fair that they're doing it now, and because it's a gas station with a sticker that says legal in all
Right.
50 states,
Right.
And
that
then
they're the police that go stop in there every day to refuel
And
their
they see it.
cars, and they're seeing this in their face. It's not fair to the people
Like
who spent
Delano,
jail
yes,
time.
And,
right. Or-
but and that,
Right.
at the same time,
Well,
we're
Delano's
really,
never been to jail for that. Never,
we're
absolutely.
No, I mean, fighting for his business and jumping through
okay.
we're
hoops
really
is what
trying
I
to-
mean.
Right.
We're really trying to help people. Then you get people who just can jump in on the profit side. So that's why I say the biggest thing between us and them is we are really for the people. We're really trying.
We're
to
trying to
help people.
comply with the law, and
Right.
compliance with the
Comply
law
with
is
the law
important.
as well.
Look how passionate they're getting. I
Yeah.
love them both. But
Yeah.
I will tell you, to your point, Bruce, in talking about progression and moving forward, what it does now, it allows business partners and owners such as Delano and the Sweet Leaf to continue now to grow and progress and provide health, hope, and healing. And that's what's most important.
That's what's most
But what I
important.
want to ask you real quickly is a little bit about the retroactive. I have a few questions, but going back, because there are still people incarcerated because of this. What is being done, if anything, to help these people out?
Well, in addition to what I have dedicated my law practice to, which is helping patients and caregivers and protecting people against the government abuse related to cannabis prohibition, I mean, that's really been my mission for my entire law practice. It's something I'm incredibly passionate about and I love doing because I'm defending good people. They're not bad people. There are no victims to any of these crimes other than the people who are getting their lives destroyed by these police who just don't get it.
There's
So-
just a lack of understanding and education.
Yeah,
And a
primarily.
misperception still.
But I mean, when you're talking about the new law and retroactivity, there are, believe it or not, still some prosecutors that are prosecuting marijuana crimes in Michigan, even though we now have this law that's changed everything and
That's
made
right.
this
Get the
lawful
card.
conduct.
Get the card.
You know, they're still trying to go forward with their ways of prohibition, and it's nonsense. And I love more than anything, getting hired in those jurisdictions where I know those prosecutors and the games that they play. I've recently gotten several dismissals, although they try to keep it quiet and off the record so they don't have to do it for everybody, which again shows their bias and unfairness in the whole thing. But there are still people locked up, and it's wrong. And I mean, if it were up to me, every single person for any marijuana-related crime, whether it's possession or possession with intent to deliver, anything specifically and only marijuana-related would be immediately expunged off the records and immediate release from any kind of jail or prison. That's the only fair thing to do in the United States, and especially in Michigan. But in the entire United States, that's the way it ought to be.
And they would get their property back, because too many people in the past have had 3 joints, 5 joints on them for purposes, for mental health, for different things, but it wasn't, it wasn't in a medical marijuana state, and they have their properties, their homes seized for 5 joints, for 10 joints, and this is something that the medical marijuana community, the marijuana community in a whole, has seen for years and years and years, and I am. Have these laws changed to help that at all?
Well, I would give a big shout out to Governor Whitmer and to Attorney General Nessel. The two of them have done everything they've promised to do coming into the state of Michigan to fix this major issue that affects millions of people in Michigan. The governor is already working on the expungements of crimes. The Attorney General is dismissing cases where it's just and appropriate in the interest of justice and fairness. Okay, I mean, those are big steps in the right direction as a policy, and coming from those two powerful women, that directs policy for everybody down the line, and that's something that's really important. That there's the few bastions of bias that are still out there, are unwilling to recognize that they've lost, and so they're trying to fight this war, but they've lost, and also not just with the incarceration and expungements, but the forfeiture bills that just recently went through that the governor signed require now a criminal conviction in order to be able to seize someone's property. And it has to be related to the conviction. So if it's a joint, you can't seize somebody's car over the value of a $10 joint.
Lisa, we must have an attorney on the panel when I can't even get a word in edgewise. when Kristen isn't talking, there is an issue. No, but I have to tell you, I feel it. I feel the spirit in here and your passion towards helping. But I want to talk to you a little bit because, growing up, you guys got a lot of work to do. You do. I mean, this is this is only the beginning, but you are going to change the narrative for centuries to come. And I think growing up, like personally, I'm not fond of marijuana. It was not my drug of choice. I didn't enjoy it, but it has changed people's lives. In my life, if my daughter's father has epilepsy, it has changed his sleeping habits, his health. It has saved lives. You look at even celebrities such as Willie Nelson. He's 85 years old, and he said if he didn't have that, if he didn't have this in his life, he would have been dead.
Quality of life is huge.
Sure.
That's exactly right. So this medicine, and now again we have the medical community standing behind it with real data to support your efforts. And I think moving forward, looking at CBD and the holistic side of it, and it's really changing the narrative and the landscape. My question to you now is, how is it affecting Big Pharma? Are they on board with this? What are your thoughts on that? Were they against this effort?
Of course.
Okay, we've had shows
less customers and business people paying clients for them when they can come get a natural alternative. I mean,
that's right.
This is something that's natural, been on Earth forever. It's a natural cure versus these prescription medications, it always makes me laugh anytime you listen to any prescription commercial. Which it also amazes me that you're allowed to market pills directly to patients rather than to the doctors who should be prescribing them. But
that's what I'm saying. That's what we said.
Listen to the fine print in the last 30 seconds of any prescription commercial, and it's unbelievable that someone would take a pill for one thing when it could cause all of those potential other harmful side effects.
I tell people all the time, if you want to know how good your medicine is, look at the side effects.
Right. That's exactly right.
Not the ingredients. All right. So most of these medicines you go to the doctor and they give you 5 prescriptions, and it's not because you need them all. It's because you need the next one to fight the side effects of the first one that they give you. So this medicine doesn't have side effects.
That's exactly
Happy,
right.
Hungry, sleepy. So
we talked too about Lisa and I've discussed this at great length. We're driving down 2375 corridor, and there are billboards from Sheriff Pickell stating they want everyone to carry Narcan. in case of the opioid epidemic. And then Lisa had asked, we had a medical professional on, had asked, how do we get our hands on that? Is it our duty to carry it? Because it's basically a call to action for every citizen to have. So we talk about the opioid epidemic, and cannabis can help treat this. Medical marijuana can help treat the pain management and help probably eradicate it. Am I wrong, Bruce Leach? Am I wrong, Delano?
No, you're not wrong.
I'm usually not wrong, though my producers might disagree. But yeah, I mean, it helps.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it from a legal perspective. I'm sure Delano can talk about the patients that come in.
Sure, I'd like you both to comment.
But go ahead.
I have patients that come in all the time, and they tell me how when they come in to tell me their symptoms and the medicine that they're taking, they ask for an alternative. I've had people within 90 days to tell me they're not taking that alternative anymore.
Right.
All the time. I get ladies to come in and hug me and thank me. They bring their kids in to say, we want to thank you. Our
You're
mother
changing their lives.
is eating again. She's gaining weight again, and she's having an appetite again. And, so it's very satisfying to me to help, to see the people's reaction, more than anything, to know you're providing something for real for people. Everybody think it's like it's a big profit. Oh, they're making money. It's not about that for everyone.
You're changing their lives.
We're trying to change people's lives, and it's working, and we're seeing the backlash from it.
So, Bruce, you're changing their lives on the business side of it. You're protecting them, but Delano's in the trenches every day, and you're looking at the data that's also staggering with children that fall within the autism spectrum or Asperger's, and desperate parents that are probably coming to you.
Yes.
We've had moms and dads
CBD is
on.
a huge project for that.
They're massive advocates for this. In fact, Lisa had been out with a mom. They called me from Detroit.
Right.
And I had her on the phone. She's like, we got to get on the show and talk about how CBD has changed her child's life.
I deal with it more from a legal arena and helping people when they have the court and criminal issues related to this. Delano's obviously more on the day to day and the practical and helping the patients that come in to get their supply of alternative medicine. But I can tell you just a quick story. I've been practicing law for many years, and I've been dealing with specifically cannabis since about 2010 here in Michigan. And I had a family the gentleman happened to be friends with my grandfather. And it's 5 generations of police officers. There's probably 40 police officers in their family. Everybody in that family became an officer. And much credit to them. I mean, these are good people and good officers. They're out there protecting us. But their youngest grandson, the great-grandson, had epilepsy. And his brother ended up having autism. And they were desperate. The medication wasn't working. All of the things that they had tried through medical professionals had not worked. Right. They had even gone to one doctor who recommended that they have this incredible brain surgery that was extremely severe, last resort type of treatment, rather than consider any kind of alternatives. And they contacted me, knowing what I was involved in the cannabis industry, and knew my grandfather, so we had at least the family in for them to listen to me.
Sure.
Because they were all very anti, everyone in the family. And this was a conference call with lots of them. And they're all police officers, so they're generally trained. Right. This is something that's bad.
That's generations of programming.
It is. And it's wrongful programming. And we're breaking out of that now with education.
We are.
And thank you to shows like this. But,
yes.
But I can tell you that after helping them educate themselves, taking a trip to Colorado to really do some boots on the ground work and see where it's legal and how that's working out there for people. Once they did their research,
it changed the game, didn't it?
It was a no decision, no contest.
Right.
To immediately try CBD as a solution, as a potential solution, before you end up going to brain surgery for a child. And I can tell you right now that in the last 3.5 years, that child hasn't had one seizure.
Wow.
The child's developmental age and cognitive abilities have fully caught up with all of his classmates and people of his age. He was 2 to 3 years behind and having 10 to 12 seizures a day. And I'm telling you, I've got chills right now. You can see it. But I'm telling you, I've been so fortunate in my job and what I love to do that I've met so many people that have gone through this, and it's very impactful. I mean, once you deal with somebody like this and a child or a family, I mean, that's something that you never forget.
And it urges you continues the motivation.
That's the
And it
motivation.
motivates me even harder because now
Look at,
I'll fight.
He's
no matter
fired up
what.
now.
Yeah.
We're going to send him on his way. Look out, world. But this is what Lisa and I say on a daily basis. What an honor and privilege it is to have people like you and Delano in our studio,
you.
because we feel it too every single day. Passionate
Yeah.
leaders and difference makers, and it's not easy. This is not an easy topic. This you guys have fought tooth and nail for what you have believed in. You have fought the man, literally
the man and the hardest.
and you have won, and you're winning the game because
Absolutely.
it's for this massive greater good.
Well, fortunately, I mean, generally,
it's a fight.
Generally speaking, I mean, prosecutors can have bias, police officers can have bias, but generally speaking, most prosecutors are just unaware, and especially when it comes to judges, they're supposed to have this neutral position, and so it's really the job of the attorney to educate. It's our responsibility
Right.
to educate. If
Right.
an attorney that takes a cannabis case goes in there and doesn't do their job, then the judge is just going to think, well, yeah, see, it's just that stoner nonsense because you didn't do it. You didn't do your job. You didn't do a good enough job explaining it. You didn't help them understand what it really is. So therein lies the success that I've been having in helping people. Is the level of education and understanding and knowledge. So the more you know, the easier it is to win. And when I can go in there and blow these people's minds with the amount of knowledge and content that they maybe assume this or assume that, when you're really educating them,
You can
I've
really-
changed several judges' minds in several courts.
That's
From
great.
from then on, they're not going to necessarily view it automatically in the light of, oh, you're just getting high
We
and
need
violating
100 of
probation
you.
or something.
And
like
that's
that.
exactly how
Around
I
the
do it.
Thank you.
state.
Thank you. I mean,
That's exactly how I
that's
do it with
a
the
very
people.
Yeah,
nice
so
comment.
that's what Delano's saying
I
he
do the
does
same
with
thing with the people.
the
as
people
he
on the
educated
ground
them.
level.
I'm
Yes.
educating people on the ground
And
level.
it takes,
It's everything.
and unfortunately, I'm helping clean up something that already happened and a problem that's already arisen
Right.
in a mess, but he's preventing it. And so there's no better medicine than preventative medicine, especially when it comes to cannabis.
Lisa,
So,
bubble wrap them both.
I want to.
We're gonna
So I
split their cells and bubble wrap.
I have a question for Delano and Bruce. You both I want to hear from you both on this. So, having said everything that we've said, there are people out there. I've had people come to me and say, "Hey, do you want to get started in this business? We can each grow this many."
Great question.
How many plants can you grow? What would so you've done this is your life. What would you say to novice ideas like that, people who are like, "Hey, we can do this," that have 9-to-5s that are working, that think they can just jump in. Maybe some people can, but what would
the
your
research is free.
The research is free.
for everyone. It's about having a small capital to start things, just like with any other business. So it's like starting something. But the research is free.
And the
it's like-
funding just has to be
funding
there.
has to be
and there's different ways to do it. So it's like my way couldn't be just somebody could figure out a way better than mine. So I wouldn't be the one to just say this is the way to do it. Okay, so
But you would provide like maybe some tips or some
But it's a
pointers
heart.
and how
It
navigate.
has to be your heart. I mean, it has to be.
yes, you have to
This
really
is-
want to do it.
it's
Just
no
like
longer
with
a
anything.
hobby.
It's not a hobby.
You can't just
And
pick
that's
up
what, yeah. And I think some people are still thinking they can just, jump in
into
and make it a hobby.
And if you're growing your own home vegetables, tomatoes and basil
Yeah.
and mint, by all means, then you can try to grow your own medicine at home. But growing your own
Marijuana
marijuana
is
at home
so
is not
different.
growing medicinal
It's not the
marijuana.
same
There's,
thing.
it's not the same thing.
Because you don't just pick it. You have to
No.
nurture
There's
it. You have to
strains,
love it. There are
there's
and
There are.
you
nutrients.
have
It's
to-
incredibly work intensive. It's
Yeah.
incredibly
there are
knowledge
pH
specific.
balance levels. Your water has to.
It's a
even be
craft.
right. All right, it's not just
Exactly.
adding water, flour.
You're not just picking
it's not
My
water.
plants die because I forget
Yeah.
to water them. So chances are I'm probably
Yeah,
out
it's not
of
for
the
everyone.
game.
It's not-
I'll go on the
not.
legal side. How about that? So
Right.
It's
those
certainly
are
not
some.
for everyone, but regarding the business structure, I mean, is there a great opportunity that everyone can grasp? Absolutely. I mean, people look and see, wow, cannabis industry. There's tons of money being made in all these other states, and for every millionaire you hear about, there's 10 people who failed.
Yeah, so it's like any business, right?
Yeah, and there always needs to be a carve out for the little guy, at least in a small supply type of setting.
Okay.
But I'll tell you right now, just like opening a recording studio, just like opening a
Anything.
gym with memberships,
right.
just like opening a bar or restaurant. I mean, the amount of overhead is huge, and it's realistically, it's going to be about 6 figures for any of those businesses.
Yes.
Right.
So why would you expect it to be less for a cannabis business? In fact, it's actually more because most cannabis business owners are willing to pay the sin tax or the extra
Correct.
the nonsense extortion by the government in
yes,
order to
that's
get
what
that
I was
license.
going to say.
Because ultimately, there's no reason why it's taxed at a higher rate. It should be taxed at a lower rate because we're reducing the amount of dependence on the medical infrastructure and insurance system.
We got plenty of shows, fellas. This is only the beginning. So
Right.
this has been absolutely wonderful. Just to real quickly end, though, I'd like to end the Sweet Leaf. Where are you located?
400 South Door Highway, Flint, Michigan.
400 South
best place in
Door
Flint.
Highway,
Best
Flint,
place in
Michigan. How can people get a hold of you?
Look it up. Look us up at the Sweet Leaf.
Come stop in.
And come stop in. That'll be the best thing to do. Even if you don't have a card, you want to come ask questions, come stop in.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Can I don't have a card, but could I buy a THC, or do I have to have a card to even
You have
enter?
to have a card.
Well, let me answer that from the attorney.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just real quick.
Excuse me, Delano.
That
Yes.
is a legal issue. Okay, technically, these provisioning centers are only still allowed to make medical sales.
Okay.
Even though the rec law passed, that's basically a private citizen type of arena right now, and
Okay.
that's where people are gifting each other marijuana and things like that. For any of these stores that are seeking a license or are licensed by the state, they can only sell to licensed patients at the time. That's right. That being said, feel free to come in. I mean, I'm sure
can walk
you
in.
can arrange you a guided tour so you can see.
That's it.
They just want to make sure everybody's
So-
complying with the law and not getting access. Isn't the key. It used to be access to the marijuana was
Right.
the issue under the old Medical Act, but now the Facilities Act is just you can't buy it.
Okay.
That's right.
So now my next question, real quickly, I have two more to end with. My sister had called me and she said her best friend's father has MS, has his medical marijuana license. He cannot walk, but he can physically be in the car. Can she go in and pick up his items?
Send him over to the Sweet Leaf, and we'll have
Thank
someone
you.
take care of his needs.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
We will always cater to veterans, to disabled people. I mean, that's something
Always.
that I've always been
Perfect.
very passionate about in my law practice, but I know at the business too.
But-
I mean, that we will always take care of the people who need it.
That ties into still the unknown, right? Can his daughter walk in? So you'll be able to answer all of that. And how can people get a hold
can
of
take
you, Bruce Leach?
Well, BruceLeachLaw.com is my website, and my phone number is 810-275-8899. That's my direct cell phone for my law office. I'm not one of those attorneys where you're going to call and leave a message and hope to get a message ring back in a few days or a week. I will answer the phone or I will call you back.
That's right.
All of my clients are very important to me, and making sure that I give them personal attention and take care of their needs directly.
Amazing. Lisa?
I'm so happy right now.
Only the
It's
beginning.
Incredible information.
Only the beginning, because as we continue to progress and move forward, Delano and Bruce will be on the show to continue to educate us and tell us about the progress made. And we hope to hear how you've helped others get out of jail and help them stay away from jail.
Yes.
And you both have been amazing. So Bruce Leach, again, attorney.
Kristen, thank you so much. And
Thank
Lisa,
you.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much for having us on.
Beautiful.
Delano
the best.
Burton, partner
This guy's
of the
the best right
Sweet
here.
Leaf
He's the
in
man.
Flint. You both are the best. Lisa Metropolis, thank you. Thank you for not looking Lisa in the eye. She wins you over.
Thank you guys for having us.
And I'm your host, Kristen Willisonovich. You both are Hope for Flint.